Welcome, welcome. We back after a long night of Big Ten After Dark,
Big
and we
Ten
just
after
want to
dark.
hop on and do our post game review of USC versus Michigan State. The USC Trojans was victorious, moving on to 4-0, and now ranked 21st in the country. USC won 45. Michigan State 31. So we was victorious, which is always great. Moving up in the rankings for slots, and it'll just continue to grow from here. We just got to continue to do what we do on the field and keep winning and keep winning. Lots to talk about. We're going to get into it. Welcome to 4th and 9 to victory. As always, I'm your boy Fight on Kristen.
And I'm the running mate, B. Jenkins.
We James, man, I know it was a long night. We were up watching the game, didn't end to 2 o'clock.
Right,
Our time
right.
doing the live. Shout outs to everybody that joined in, liked, subscribe, commented, call in. We definitely appreciate it. Definitely a long night. So we're going to get right into this with our post game review, and we're going to start off with our first segment. Victory Sunday, and we'll start off with you, B. What did USC do well in this game? Right, we want to talk about all the good things that
Okay,
you've seen from the team,
okay.
and the great things we did well, and what we need to continue that will continue to lead us to winning games, ultimately getting into the playoffs, and extending our season
Right.
and reaching our goals. So Victory Sunday, props out to USC for winning.
Mhm.
What did you see from the team that we did well and we need to continue?
Well, of course, we'll start with the good, the offensive line and the run game. Again, we've talked about it to an extent. We got the week. Riley has really shown his willingness to adapt to a new conference and utilizing his running backs. So I would say the good that stood out in this game is the running game. 200 total of 289 yards on the ground. Our leading rusher for the day, for yesterday was Waymon Jordan. I think he ended up with like maybe 150, 160 on the ground. He didn't get into the end zone, but Miami did get into the end zone twice on last night. So again, it's been a surprise for me, a pleasant surprise that Riley has really gone with the running game, and he showed a new wrinkle, something that we haven't seen on film this year, or maybe even last year, or maybe even since Riley got to SC back in 2022. The use of two running back sets. Kind of had Michigan State confused. We started off running in the second half. We didn't get that many opportunities in the third quarter. We'll get to that a little later on. But again, for me, it's been a running game, the running game of this USC team.
All right. Again, as well, I echo that. That's one of the things that's on my list, on my notes from what I seen yesterday. I have to start off with the O line. All right, the O line and the great play that they have done through the first 4 games, because that opens up everything. Right.
Right,
So the
right,
O line, we knew coming into the game that Michigan State wasn't going to be formidable in pass rushing, right? Because that's where their weakest at is pass rushing. But the way we dominated them on the ground and started up front with the offensive line, so
mhm,
that's we have to continue to have our O line play well. We did have one of our starters go out in the second quarter, and many people didn't even notice that you know Page was out injured. We brought in and did some different lineups with the O line after that, and they didn't miss a beat. So continue the great O line play. Continue to run the ball.
mhm,
Utilize that 2 back set, specifically with Sanders and Waymon Jordan in the backfield. We ran it a couple of times as well with Prince Miller, with King Miller in the backfield with Eli Sanders,
mhm.
and we noticed a difference. We came out on the second drive of the game, and that's when Riley busted it out. And
Right,
Michigan State, just like we haven't seen it on film, Michigan State didn't see it on the film, and
right.
it immediately showed impact. Another great thing we must give credit for is that Riley was in his bag with the offensive play calling yesterday.
Oh
He
yeah,
had
oh
Michigan State defensive coordinator totally off kilter to what we were going to do, what we're going to attack. like we said, Riley has always been innovative in the passing game. But I want to give him kudos because the innovations that I've seen, not just yesterday, but through the first 4 games with the run game and the
Right.
creativity with that has been amazing. The
Right.
first game we came out and we bust out in the pistol set. We
Mm-hmm.
haven't seen a pistol set since that first game, but it worked in the first game, right? It's dependent on what he's seeing on film. Um, Coming out with Sanders and Waymon Jordan in the backfield at the same time in a T set. I mean, masterful. So
Right.
Riley continued being his bag, staying creative with the run game. We actually, we run a lot of zone read. People expect that from us, but we actually yesterday was running some veer read option as well. And
Mm-hmm.
on both plays, we got a good play with that with Maiva going to the right and once to the left and optioning it off to the running back to where they're
Right.
going to the same side, right? There's a difference between the zone read. The zone read is reading the backside defensive end. When you're doing your veer reads, you're reading the the zone read, you're reading the weak side defensive end, and the
Mm-hmm.
veer you're reading the strong. And so we actually put some veer in there yesterday, right? Your typical option that you see Navy and other teams run like that. So
Sure.
Riley standing his back, creative with the play calling. Maiva continuing to play within the offense and
Right.
playing great. Keep that up. Keep taking care of the ball. Maiva's doing an excellent job, man. Excellent job. And D line to continue to cause havoc. The
Oh
D
yeah.
line caused a lot of havoc, a lot of pressure yesterday. We'll get more into that, but have to give kudos to that defensive line, right? Even when different players come in, we're not seeing the drop off. The pressure is still there. They're doing their thing. And lastly, what we must continue is Eric Gentry staying healthy because
Right.
man, he's a difference maker. He
He
is that
definitely
guy.
is a difference maker.
Yep, you can do a lot with him. So that is our victory, our Sunday. We definitely want to give a shout out to the entire USC team for, in the third quarter, we was getting a little irritated, but we took back over control of the game on the very next drive. We finished the game off with a 45-31 victory. So shout outs to the USC Trojan on this victory Sunday. Great job, Phyllis, and we're gonna keep on doing up the great work. All right, moving on to our second segment here. We just want to look at some stats from yesterday and present you with them. Dominant performance across the board. The score doesn't show it, but if you watch that game, this was a dominant performance. First, just let's look up at our leading passer. Of course, we only played one quarterback. Mr. Jaden Mava was 20 for 26. Average pass attempt 9 yards, 3 TDs through the air, no interceptions, 2 TDs on the ground. Waymon Jordan led the way in rushing with 18 carries for 157 yards with an 8.7 yard average. Eli Sanders contributed with 16 carries for 90 yards with a 5.6 average. Jay Maava carried it for four times for 31 yards with a 7.8 yard coverage. So that's great on the ground. Like B
Right.
said, the team finished with 289 yards with a 7.2 average. Our leading receiver on the day was Makai Lemon with 8 receptions at 127 yards, 15.9 average, had a TD on the ground and through the air. Defensively, let me go to the next one. Defensively, Eric Gentry led the way with 6 total tackles. As always, we're not surprised. Gentry leads us in tackles every game. He had 6 solo tackles. He had 2 tackles for loss. Devin Tompkins actually had 6 tackles as well with a half a sack. So
Right.
that's definitely great. Braylon Shelby led the way with sacks with 1.5 with a sack and a half. So we did end up with 2 sacks. We had a total 7 tackles for loss. And this will lead us, excuse me, this will lead us into our next segment, right? So we looked at the numbers. We looked at the numbers as well that Michigan State put up. So we're in our next segment here. We call this segment "Men Lie, Women Lie." Numbers never lie, but numbers can be misleading. And what we mean by that, if it's your first time catching our show, is a lot of times when you're watching a game and you're looking at the final stats, if you haven't watched the game, some numbers can be misleading and not tell the whole story. I don't know about you, but I'm glad mine has finally changed from the first 3 weeks. Because in the previous 3 weeks, it was the opposite team, net rush yards, right? And we were saying, if you're watching that game, they're gashing us on the ground, they're gashing us on the ground. Their net rush yards is not telling the story, right? Because we were getting sacks and things of that nature. So let me pass it to you. What is a final stat that you look at that can kind of be misleading if you just looked at the stat sheet and didn't actually watch the game?
Well, I would have to say Michigan State's passing. I think the quarterback passed for over 200 and maybe 20, 30 yards, but it wasn't to the point to where he was eating up USC secondary all night long. It's mainly due to busted coverages, and I think on that last touchdown that that they scored in the fourth quarter, right there at the end of the game, the DB fell down. Of course, I know our defense is going to come on a lot of fire, especially the secondary. We're giving up the amount of points that we gave to Michigan State. From what I understand, they had a lot of limited players, and they even faced a lot of adversity with some players going down in the game. And a lot of fans are going to say, well, hey, look, it shouldn't be that close. But, Michigan State's quarterback, Charles threw for, like I said, over 200 and some odd yards. And it looks like he really, did a number on our secondary, but I think that was somewhat misleading. Those came from a couple busted plays, so that would be my take on it.
Yep, and I didn't actually even think about that one, so I'm glad this is the first week that we're going to have something different, right, to share with the people. So, and that's a good one too, because like you said, a lot of his yards came off those bombs, them busted coverages. But we'll get back with it later on about our DPs. Mine stat that's misleading is the USC sack total.
Okay.
We only had 2. So if you look at if you just looked at the stats and didn't look at the game, you wouldn't think that Michigan State quarterback was under as much duress as he was, right? Our defensive line harassed him all night. Though we was only able to bring him down twice, he was under constant pressure. By the end of the game, he was limping. He was hurting. He took a beating. The pressure from that defensive line yesterday was on every play. And so yes, we only ended with 2 sacks, but it's not telling the whole story about how much pressure that quarterback was under yesterday, how many times he got hit and he was bruised and battered. The other stat is that, we had 10 penalties for 89 yards. And you look at it and you look at the score, we won comfortable. You wouldn't think that those penalties was such a game decider and game influencer, but they was, and it was because when these penalties happened, it was on down. Yeah, it was on that we committed, right? It was on it's in the red zone. It's when we're on defense and we're forcing them to punt, or when it's on 3rd down and 4th down and we're getting penalties that gave them a first down, which is a lot in the 3rd quarter, why they were able to make it a 1 possession game before we ran off again. So mine would be our total number, sack numbers, and also the penalty yards. All right, let's move on to our next segment. This segment we call "Never Accept Anything in a Win that you wouldn't in a loss." And the reason we had this segment is, what did we see yesterday that when we get into the tough games, right? We have the Illinois, the Michigan, the Nebraskas on the road, the Oregon on the road, and you're in a 1 possession game. Like, what are things that you've seen yesterday, even though we won, that you cannot accept and that we need to address, fix going forward, because it can cost you a game when you're playing a much high caliber team.
Well, you spoke about it in the last segment, the penalties. Yesterday we had 10 penalties for a total of about 89, 90 yards. That's unacceptable. But what's most telling is the timeliness of the penalties. Like you mentioned before, 4th and 7, the defense is about to get out the field, but we have a penalty running into the kicker. Even though that kid was pushed into that punter, you can't even come close to him. We're up 3 touchdowns. And I want to say this was in the third quarter, which is where we just started to take the downturn, which has been a snake pit for us. The third quarters, ever since Riley has gotten there, the third quarters has been our biggest adversary, not the opponents, but it's been the third quarter ourselves, shooting ourselves in the foot. So for me, it's the penalties, the numerous hands to the face that we've been seeing since game 1. The defensive linemen or the rush ends getting those hands up around the offensive lineman's helmet and drawing those penalties. So for me, I would never accept those type of penalties or the number of penalties that we've had in a win that I wouldn't accept in a loss.
Definitely. We was doing good where we was not having the same thing for the first week, but
right.
we definitely have the same thing on that, right? Because those were the game changers. So to sum it up, mine is the lack of discipline, right? Okay. All of it falls under the lack of discipline. Busted coverages in the defensive backfield, right, with the DBs. There's lack of discipline, lack of eye discipline, lack of discipline with communication. Players doing what they're supposed to do. The penalties can't have it. Like you said, hands to the face. We've gotten that in every game. Here we are in game 4, and we're still talking about defensive linemen hitting people in the face. Can't have it. Second week in a row where we have forced the team to punt, and we have given them a first down because of a penalty, right? On the punter. Yeah, last week we said it was a bad call. This one was a little nitpicky, could have got. But here's the thing: it's 4th and 7. You up 21. Why are you even rushing the punter aggressively? Get in the return. Get in the safe return. Don't even rush. Play for the fake, right? But it's the lack of discipline. Even on that same drive, that don't give them the first down, right? That was 4th and 7. They gave them 5 yards. It's 4th and 2, and we have 12 men on the field.
Right.
The very next, right after that play, we have a pass interference. Right after that play, we had 3 straight penalties on that drive, which gave them a touchdown, which pushed them right back in the game. Right, lack of discipline, ball security, right? We get the ball back after that. They cut that lead into 14. We get the ball back. Our first play, unfortunately, wide receiver fumbles the ball. It's a lack of discipline, lack of focus. Now it's a 7-point game. So for me, what I can't accept is the penalties, the defensive breakdowns with the defensive backs. Again, something we've been seeing for 4 games. The penalties, which we've been seeing for 4 games. Turnovers, we only seen it for 2 games. So that one, sometimes things just happen. But those other 2, the penalties and the type of penalties, because they're the same penalties. It's not like they're different penalties. We're struggling with the same penalties every game, and the lack of communication and breakdown with the defensive backs. Can't accept it. Got to get it fixed, and need to get it fixed ASAP before we, like you said, by Thursday, right? Before we go to Champaign this weekend, because Illinois got beat down, but they're gonna come out angry with something to prove. All right, so that is that for never accept anything in a win that you wouldn't in the loss. Moving on to our next segment. I wonder if we're going to keep it up and have different things on this. This is the play of the game. What was your play of the game?
My play of the game, it would have to be a play that Thanos made. This kid, freshman, really should be in high school right now. Should be a high school senior. I think it was maybe in the second or third quarter. I won't say the second quarter. He shoots the gap and he's low, and he pretty much meets the quarterback and the running back.
You're talking about his first tackle for loss, because he did it. Yeah. He got there fast. Okay. I
Yeah,
was
yeah, he
thinking
got
like which one? He made a few like
oh,
like
yeah, yeah, it was the very first one, so Thanos, man, I thought the kid wouldn't come on until later on in his USC career, maybe next year sometimes. But the coaches see something different in this kid. Coach Henny, Coach Lynn, they're trusting in him, putting him in there in critical situations, key situations, and letting him, hey, go in there and play free. So when I saw him shoot that gap low and meet the running back in the backfield and tackle him around the ankles, I was like, man, listen, we got something special on our hands. So even though we put up a lot of points on the board, for me, my play of the game would have to be the TFL that Thanos got. I want to say it was in the second quarter.
all right. My play of the game is because of what I just preferenced, right? It's 4th and 7. We run into the kicker. It's 4th and 2. They get a first down because we got 12 men on the field. They go right down on the field and score. We come back, our first play, we fumble the football. They score again, right? So now a 21-point game is down to a 7-point game.
Mm-hmm.
My play of the game is going to be the next drive after they scored their touchdown when we're up 7. It's 3rd and 3, and Jaden Maiava runs around like Houdini, escape the pocket, and run
I like that.
14 yards, running 12, 14 yards to get us a first down to keep that drive going.
Who
And that's
did
my
he
play.
remind you of? Who did he remind you of on that play, Chris?
That was Caleb-esque.
That was Caleb-esque? Okay.
Yeah.
All
but
right.
the reason that's my play of the game because our defense was reeling, right? They had scored 2 straight drives on our defense, and our defense had no answer, couldn't get off the field. If we don't get that first down right there and we punt that ball away, only up 7, we punt that ball away, they go down and score again. That's a tie game. And what Jaden Maiava did with that play was that he stopped the bleeding, right? Someone has to stop the bleeding, when a team has you cut and gash and you have no answer. Someone has to stop the bleeding. And so that was a pivotal first down to keep that drive going because all the momentum was with Michigan State, right? The defense was reeling. The defense was struggling to get off the field. And so it's no way we could give them that ball back. And so Jaden Maiava converting that 33, running around like Houdini and going to get it, that extended that drive. We was able to go down and score again and go up 14, which at that point right there gave us some more separation to get the game for us and put pressure on them. And so it was definitely pivotal. So kudos to Jakeem Stewart. Kudos to Jaden Maiava, 4th and 9 to victory, play of the game. And now we're going to transition. I feel like we're going to have the same people on this to our next segment.
Oh, we might. You know what, Chris? I'm going to let you go first on this one. This way, I know because I got a for sure one, but then I got a potential just in case you decide to choose my initial guy. So you go first on this one.
All right. So our Trojan horse impact players of the game. So we gave you the play of the game, but these are our players of the game for USC. Our impact players for offense and defense. Offensively, none other than Jaden Maiava. Like you have to give it to him. We talked his numbers. You know what I'm saying? 3 touchdowns in the air, 2 on the ground. Right. What he did with his feet to extend plays, his decision making.
It's efficiency.
Yeah, his efficiency.
Right.
Yeah, and I mean he's leading the country with efficiency. So I'm sure he has his quarterback rating is going to be up at at 90% again. I mean 20 for 26, right? 234. I would do the quick math right now, but you guys can do the math. Go ahead and divide it times 900. But that is definitely outstanding. So I'm gonna have to give Jaden Maiava my player of the game. Defensively, my impact player of the game, Eric Gentry. Eric Gentry again was a difference maker. Led the team, all solo tackles, 2 tackles for loss in the backfield. He was a disruptor. We talked about it pregame that he was going to have to be used as a spy on that quarterback. We've seen it a lot where he spied the quarterback and where the quarterback tried to escape the pocket. Eric Gentry is right there waiting on him. And so I give my Trojan horse impact player of the game offensively to Jaden Maiava, defensively Eric Gentry.
Okay, I want to say his efficiency rate was right around 76%. Don't quote me on that, but I think that's it. Again, Jay Miava, again, great impact player of the game. But I want to go somewhere different because I knew you would probably choose Jade had I let you go on first. So mine is going to be a duo. My impact player of the game, I'm going to combine them together to make one super running back. That's going to be Wayman Jordan and Eli Sanders. Together,
You
they
cheat.
put up
You cheating.
hey, together.
It's player. You cheating.
Yeah. So
You cheating.
the running attack, man. But if I had to choose between the two, it would be Wayman. But
Nah, you're good. I'm just messing with you.
I
That's a
can't.
great.
Yeah,
That's a
I
great.
can't.
Yeah,
Yeah, I
because it's the
can't leave.
totality of
Right,
what we
the
did on the
totality
ground.
of it. Again,
Yeah.
I can't. I can't continue to allow Riley enough for his willingness to really keep that ball on the ground. This time last year, he would have been forcing the pass, but he got two dynamic running backs out of the transfer portal, one from the JUCO level and one that came over from New Mexico. So I want to I picked those two as my total combined impact player of the game on offense. On defense, since you went with EG, I want to have to go with Jakeem Stewart again. The surprise freshman really causing havoc on that defensive line, making an impact, getting in the backfield. I would have thought because of his youth and his inexperience, that it would be somewhat of a challenge for him this season, and we would see limited action. But again, that's why Coach Henry and Coach Lynn are paid the big bucks, and I'm not, right? So King Stewart, man, really flashing. He flashed this game. He flashed last game against Purdue, getting in the backfield bit, and he's quick. God, he's so quick off the ball, shooting those gaps, getting back there and making the tackle. That's what's most important. He's not just getting back there and changing the route of the running back or changing the path of the running back. He's getting back there and he's making the tackle. So my impact player on the defense is going to be Jakeem Stewart.
All right. So kudos to Jakeem Stewart. I don't know. We can't call him Thunder and Lightning, so it might just be Lightning and Lightning. Right?
Right. Right.
We got to figure out a name for him, but definitely to both the running backs, Waymon Jordan and Eli Sanders. Again, great job, fellas. Congratulations. 4th and 9 victory, Trojan Horse impact players of the game versus Michigan State. All right. It is that time. First down. 1st and 10. It is that time. Yes, sir. All right. So first down. You want 1st and 2nd, 3rd and 4th, or me 1st and 2nd, and you take 3rd? How you want to?
We can keep it as is. I take 1st and 2nd, and you take 3rd and 4th down.
All right. So first down. What did you learn, if anything, about this USC football team from the game yesterday, and helps you determine what this team's ceiling is for the year?
Well, again, I have to go right back to it. I learned that we can run the ball when we want to. Especially when we have an opportunity to. If you look back at the 3rd quarter, we didn't get but 2 possessions in the 3rd quarter. Michigan State pretty much controlled the clock. But when we went back to that 2-back set, again, this was a wrinkle that Riley hadn't shown on tape all season long, and it forced Jonathan Smith, Michigan State's coach, to call a timeout, make some adjustments defensively. But even within that, with the 2 backs back there, you don't know which running back is going to keep the ball. So it's going to cause the defensive ends to pause. It's going to cause the linebackers to pause. And it could be a situation where even Miami keeps the ball. So I think that the potential for the 3-headed running monster with our 2 backs and Jay Marva, I've learned that it's going to pay dividends, or can be expected to pay dividends down the road, especially once we get deeper into conference play. We got a big game coming up on next week on the road against Illinois. If I'm Riley, I'm leaning on that rushing attack since everyone has seen it now. I'm going with it. I'm leading on that rushing attack. So I'm sure he's going to add in some more wrinkles to that. But I've learned that, hey, look, when Riley puts his mind to it, not only is he one of the best play callers in the country, it shows that, hey, look, he's a great evaluator of talent and is willing to go and get that talent.
All right. What this game showed me, what I learned is that Riley is a creative play caller, not just in the pass game, but in the run game.
Oh yeah.
We talked about all the different, formations, using a lot of 12 men, but the different run formations that we've
Mhm.
used this year. And yesterday, like I said, we seen 3 new wrinkles that we haven't seen on film or from USC. Previously, we came out, a pistol was like, okay, we're running a pistol now. All right, which was nice in the first game, which is a good wrinkle. But yesterday, like you said, the creativity with that T formation with Waymon Jordan and Eli Sanders in with it again. Not only that, but again, when I said we even implemented, the veer option, attacking the strong side defensive end, not
Mhm.
just the weak in the zone, but as well the play you were just alluding to when Johnson Smith called a timeout. That's because Maava went out to receiver and was running the Wildcat. We
Right.
haven't seen Riley run the Wildcat. He was running the Wildcat with Waymon Jordan, which is why they said, hold on, let's call a timeout. Then we didn't get to run it, and he came out under center, which
Right.
we haven't seen with Makai Lemon on a jet sweep, right? Which is the run game where he handed off to Makai Lemon score. So we're seeing a lot of creativity with the run game to attack those teams. We did get to run that Wildcat later in the game on our last drive that we scored on. And Miles actually threw a block in Waymont when he got a first down
Right.
off that play, which is good. So that's something that I learned yesterday. I also learned that our offense is talented enough to overcome, the team's mistakes, right?
Right.
Because when everything was down in the third quarter, our offense scored on their first drive of the third quarter. Second drive, they fumbled one time. Everything that was going on with defense and penalties, not being able to get off the field, special teams, right? Even the offense was able to come right back on the field and erase all that and take back over and take control of the game. I also learned that as a team, we're undisciplined. We're undisciplined. That has to be fixed, right? The penalties, the breakdown and coverage, the mistakes. I mean, game one, I was like, we'll see. Game two, game three. But when it's game four and you're making the same mistakes and you're doing the same things, that is undisciplined. Again, what you said, we learned, those running backs are legit. You
Oh
know what
yeah.
I mean? They're going to be a problem for everybody we place. Also learned that our offensive line has depth. Our starting offensive lineman got hurt in the second quarter. We mixed and matched and moved people around with the offensive line, and nothing changed. Right?
Right. Right.
That's depth. Also, what it taught me yesterday because of that is that the individuals that USC recruited, that Riley and them recruited, they're our biggest contributors.
Oh yeah.
Like every year was like this person coming in the portal, we want this person, but it's the people that we recruit, especially on the offensive line, that's been developed by USC. That's the biggest contributors to this team, and that's playing great. And my last two things is my was the top QB in the nation. That I,
Mm.
I don't I don't care what people want to argue. I don't care. My was the top QB, not just in the Big Ten, but in the nation.
Country.
Like he's in the country, in the nation. He's balling. And the last thing, what I learned about this team is we're a young team.
Mm.
Think about it. We don't have no senior starter on offense. Well, Eli Sanders don't start, so we don't have not one senior starter on offense. On defense, Eric Gentry and Anthony Lucas are only two seniors. We are still a young team, and we're making young team mistakes. Young teams are undisciplined. Young teams have breakdown and coverage. You have to think about it. We started a redshirt freshman yesterday at corner, right?
Right.
There's a learning curve that comes with doing this, right? So a lot of the mistakes and things that we're doing, and I'm not making an excuse for it, but we're a young team, right? And an inexperienced team. The future is real bright because, I mean, if you think about it, there's only 3 people out of offense and defense that can't come back next year. Everybody else can come back if they want to. That's how young we are. And yet they're contributing and getting this experience. So we are a young team. All right, moving on to second down. All right. Does USC offense have to score 30 plus a game for USC to win? Do you
Well,
think this? Like, hold on, so
yeah.
you can totality of the question. Do USC offense have to score 30 plus a game to win? The second part of that is, do you think USC offense will score 30 plus a game in every game? And the last part about it is regarding offense, has Riley got his groove back?
Well, first part of the question: will we have to score 30 points a game to win it? Well, I look back over the first 4 games. We only gave up 30 points, and that was to Michigan State. And we had some breakdowns in coverage, mainly on the back end of the defense. Um, Looking at our schedule, it's a couple games that we more than likely will have to score more than 30 in order to pull this out to be successful. We got Oregon coming up. Notre Dame can put up some points, and possibly Nebraska. Those are well, up until yesterday, I would say Illinois also, but it really depends on how many possessions we get. Yesterday, in the third quarter, we only saw the ball twice in the third quarter. So I know teams are going to look to capitalize on that when they watch the film. Part of that was due to us shooting our own self in the foot with the penalties, and the defense not being able to get off the field in key situations, dumb penalties. Um, will we have to score 30 points a game? I'm looking at us, scoring it regardless. Right now we're averaging around 52 points a game. Riley is used to scoring that many points a game anyway. Now, um, the last part of the question, I'm trying to remember, what was the last part of the question again?
The first part is, do the offense have to score 30 plus a game for us to win?
Hmm.
The next part is will USC score 30 points in every
Right,
game?
right.
And then the last was, has Riley got his groove back?
Well, and I saw a interview on that. One of the reporters asked Riley had he got his groove back. He said he never left. It never left it. So I think that he's always been able to dial up some plays. I think last season we just didn't have the right pieces in place, and he didn't have the right amount of weapons in place. This year, we got more experience. We got an experienced running back, even though he's coming from the JUCO level. We got Makai Lemon that's more experienced. He's probably one of the, if not the best route runners in the conference itself. Um, we got another receiver in Jacoby Lane. Um, he was out yesterday. We got the 2 running backs. So, and he's shown the willingness to use the tight end. I think this year with our tight ends being healthy and our running backs being experienced and talented as they are, I think you're going to really see Riley get into his groove if we can control the clock like we did in the first half and not having the hiccups in the third quarter like we did.
All right. So do USC offense have to score 30 plus a game? For me, the answer is yes, because I'm looking at this defensively wise. So that's
Okay.
really more of like a defensive question. Do you trust your defense enough against Oregon, against Michigan, against Notre Dame to be able to hold the other team under 30 points? And the answer is no, with how we're playing on the back end right now. So we're going to have to score 30 plus to win. Not every game. Like we ain't gonna need 30 against Northwestern,
Right.
Iowa like that. But in the games where it's gonna matter, the elite teams, we're gonna have to score 30 plus
Hmm.
to win those games because like you're saying is defensively right now. I mean, all year we struggle to get off the field. Right,
Right.
we have 1 3 and out coming out of half, but other than that, we don't get off the field. Teams don't even haven't really been forced to get to third down, right? Which means they
Right.
getting first downs on first and second because we're giving up so many chunk and big plays. So I do think in order for us to win, especially those big games at Oregon, at Notre Dame, at home against Michigan, we're going to have to put up 30 points, over 30 points to win those games. Do I think that we're going to score 30 points every game? I do not. And it's not that I don't trust our offense or I think our offense is good. It's just there's always a game or two in the season where the offense is just not clicking. And that's any school, right? At some
Mhm.
point, your defense has to be able to win your game when the offense is struggling. I don't know if you remember when we played the same coach, right? up at Corvallis when he was at Oregon State. We ended up winning that game, what, 14-13?
It was
And that was
17-14.
what
It was 17-14.
Yeah, when we didn't score to the last drive where Caleb hit
Right.
Jordan Addison, right? And we were high powered that year, but it was just like that day, the offense was just not clicking. The offense was having a bad game. The offense was off. And it was strange that a Grinch defense, won that game, right?
Right.
Yeah,
Right.
the Grinch defense. That's the one game we got to give Grinch props for. So I just think it's too much to ask and too much to, bank on that we'll be able to have this offense performance every week, week in, week out, especially when we get to the top tier teams. And so I don't think we will score 30 over every game. I hope I'm wrong. The last part, has Riley got his groove back? Yeah, that was Connor Morris that asked him that question, and he said I never lost it. I say, has he gotten his groove back? My answer is no, because I agree that he never lost it. Last year, what happened is like you said, right? We had a quarterback that didn't fit his system. We had an offensive line that struggled bad, especially in pass protection, right?
Mm-hmm.
So we had to leave it. That took the tight ends out the game. We're able to use the tight ends this year because the offensive line has been able to hold up without needing help from the tight ends to chip block and stay in block, so they're able to go out in the routes. And so now Riley is able this year, because of offensive line play, that's where it starts, to be able to be a attacking offense and not a defensive offense. Last year we were a defensive offense because every time he's calling the play, he's having to think about protection, who I'm going to have stay in the block to help the tackles on the end. So you can't attack. You being reactionary, you being defensive when you call your plays. This year he has the luxury to where he can be on the attack as the offense, right? He's not having to worry thus far about the tackles. We'll really get a good idea about this offensive line when we go against Michigan. Michigan be the first team that we'll play that'll be able to get pressure with just that we've seen thus far this season, be able to get pressure with just 4 and have those dudes on the edge that can cause some havoc. We haven't ran into that yet. So Michigan is going to be a great test for us on that. And so that's why I lie with that. Do we have to score 30 plus? I believe we do. Will we score 30 plus every game? I don't believe so. For the most part, we will, but there's going to be some defenses that we run into that's able to get just enough stops, not let us go on long drives to keep us under that. And our defense is not getting off the field right now. And so possessions will be limited and time of possession and things of that. And the game will be, shortened. And I just finished the spiel on Riley, so won't go back over that again. All right. Moving on, 3rd down. So through 3 games, what is the biggest areas of growth on the team here seen from USC? That starts for me. Again, it's good, right? That it's not changing. It's starting to be the same every week, right? It's Riley and beating the curve with the ground game.
Mm-hmm.
That's the biggest area of growth. It's the defensive line, especially the young guys and the young players on the defensive line and how productive they are and what they're doing. And again, it's just Jaden Miles' total control of the offense, decision making, playmaking, and everything thereof. Short and sweet. Miles, the running of the ball, and the defensive line and the havoc that they're calling. Those are biggest areas of growth I've seen.
I'm going to echo it, but I'm going to go in a little different direction, and it's going to be pertaining to Malva. You know as well as I know, hey, this time, even before this time last season, I was calling for Malva to replace Moss. And again, this is no shot at Moss. It's just that Moss didn't fit Riley's scheme. You mentioned it in the last segment on 2nd down. He did not fit Riley's scheme. So I want to say the biggest area of growth has been Malva. His efficiency, his touchdown to turnover margin. Knock on wood, I'm going to knock right now. He doesn't have any touchdown. He doesn't have any interceptions on the season right
or
now.
fumbles.
Or fumbles. He's taking care of the ball. He hasn't really put the ball at harm's way. He's done a great job with um, climbing the pocket, even escaping the pocket. You alluded to your play of the game was the scramble that he did, and I escaped to the left side of the line and got the first down, even got an extra 67 yards and got out of bounds. The play action fakes, the 3 touchdowns through the air. Again, his efficiency last game was around 76%. So I want to say the biggest area of growth I've seen on this team so far has been the leader, the quarterback, Jaden Maiava, which I expect for him, if he can continue this trajectory of play, I expect for him to be in New York City at the end of the season for the Heisman Trophy ceremony. I'm not saying that he might win it. I'm just saying look for him to be there if he can stay healthy and continue this trajectory of play.
If he continues this trajectory of play, and defense can clean up a couple of things, we're definitely a playoff team, and he definitely has to be the front runner. There's no one else playing like him right now.
Yeah.
There's no, you know what I'm saying? And let's say he fall off next week or the week after. I mean, even now he should be in the Heisman talk just from the first 4 weeks. So I definitely agree. I definitely agree with you. And we're gonna raise, if he continues this trajectory and all that, he don't even get no invite and they don't start talking about him,
Mm-hmm.
But you know how they do us. You remind me all the time. It's USC.
Right.
All right. Going on to the next segment. 4th down. And as you guys know, this is 4th and 9 to victory. It's 4th down, so we're not punting. We don't never punt.
We never punt.
We never punt. We're always go for it. So a 4th down question is, I'm going to break it down. Overall grade of team, you can give that last, but we're going to break it down. The overall defense, we're going to give a defensive grade, an offensive grade, a special team grade, and an overall team grade. Doesn't matter the order you go in, but probably want to save your overall team grade for last. This 4th down, I take it. Special teams, I'm going to give special team a B+. The reason special teams is not getting the A, we didn't miss any field goals. We didn't kick any kickoffs out of bounds this week. But that 4th down, this is the second week in a row where we had an opportunity to get off the field, and our punt block team has gotten a penalty that has cost us. And this one, just like last week, which changed the whole trajectory of the game. Right. So for that, I can't give them an A. Other than that, they played well. Makai Lemon had some good run backs, right? He almost broke a kickoff return. Right. So for that, I'm gonna give him a B+. Offense, this is easy. Offense gets A-, right? They get an A- because of the fumble. Outside of the fumble, they were fantastic, right? No complaints there. With nothing on the offense outside of that fumble, can give you an A+, and you fumble the football. Defense is going to get a B-, and the reason the defense is getting a B- is off the strength of the D-line and linebacker play yesterday. They played great. I have my red pen now, and I went back and forth because I was going to give them a C, but I knew you were going to tell me that I was grading too hard as a teacher. How can you give them a C? How can you give them a C with the tackle for loss and the pressures? So I heard you in my head. So I'm gonna give them a B- off the strength of what the linebackers did in the defensive line play, all that pressure, the sacks, tackle for loss. But of course, we know why they get a B-. Couldn't get off the field. Pass coverage just was awful last night. Let's just be honest, right? Again, we wasn't giving up big plays on the ground, but we were giving up big plays in the air yesterday. Right. The penalties, the amount of penalties that this defense is getting, right? So for those, they get a B-. The overall team grade, because offense and special teams got A's, defense got a B-. I'm gonna give the overall team grade a B+.
Okay. All right. Now my turn. All right. Special teams. C- this week. I'm going to be tough on them this week.
What now?
Yeah. I'm going to be tough on them this week. And it's for the very same reason that you mentioned before. We've had these issues since game 1. And it doesn't seem like, they're getting better. It seems like they're getting worse. We're continuing to regress as far as from a penalty standpoint. And you're right. Chris, it could cost us in a big game down the road. Once we go on the road to Oregon, once we go on the road to Notre Dame, we still have to go to Nebraska. These are going to be big games to where these penalties could take us out of our groove and we don't get it back. Just so happened, we were able to find our groove back again in the fourth quarter. Why? Mainly because we were at home and we were able to eventually get the ball. Well, in some of these games, our touches may be even more limited. So for that very same reason that you mentioned earlier, I want to give us a C minus. Even though the guy was pushed into the punter. I agree. But we're up 21 points. We're at home. Why are you aggressively rushing the punter like that? Get there, break down, make sure your job is to make sure that he don't take off running and get the first down. That's your job. Not to try
Punt
to
safe, punt safe,
punt
punt
safe.
safe.
Yeah, not to try to block the punt. We didn't need a block right there. We needed to keep the momentum. And that third quarter, again, I call it the snake bite quarter for us because it's been a thorn in Riley's side since he got there. On A, I'm going to go on offense. I'm going to go with an A. The run game. Again, Riley has shown me that he has a willingness and the creative genius to go out there, put his two backs in there, cause all types of confusion on Jonathan Smith's defense. And Jonathan Smith is known for causing confusion. What was more interesting is, and we talked about this during the live, when Riley came out in the Wildcat, Jaden Maiava went out to the wide receiver position. Riley came out in Wildcat, and it caused Jonathan Smith to call a timeout right then. Why? Because it was another wrinkle that Riley had not shown yet. So I said that Riley was playing chess right there because remember, this was around the 8-minute mark. We were only up, I want to say, one touchdown at the time, but Jonathan Smith had not used any of his timeouts in the second half. And I said, kudos to Riley for adding in that wrinkle to force him to use one of those timeouts. Sure, we scored on that drive, but he ended up making Jonathan Smith use one of those timeouts. On defense, I'm going to go C minus. Again, the penalties, especially the hands to the face, the pass interferences, our DBs are not getting their head around. On that last touchdown that Michigan State scored, the DB number 2, I'm not going to call his name out. He knows who he is. He flat out fell down. Now, that could have been just incidental thing, but you got to keep a mental focus here, meaning that you know that they're going deep. So what do? Even if you're playing in a press cover man, the first thing you want to do is bail and not let the receiver get what? Behind you. Even if he's running stride for stride, you're already lost because it's a potential that what could happen. It happened exactly the way it happened. He fell down. Why? Because they bumped legs and he just got knocked down to the ground. He had a touchdown, and it turns into a 14-point game when we were up 21 points. We could have covered the spread. So again, C minus on that defense. Overall grade, I want to go a flat out B. And it's because, again, the penalties on the defense, the penalties on special team, and the defensive play in the secondary. Overall grade, I'm going to give it a B, but I am very optimistic with the creativeness of Lincoln Riley and his willingness to use his tight ends and his running backs.
Definitely, man. Great show. That is 4th down. All right. That is our show for today. Appreciate everyone. Make sure you like, subscribe, comment. Also, we will have another video dropping on Tuesday morning. We'll be going through each position group and giving our grades, right? And then on Thursday, we'll be doing another video where we will be breaking down the film of Illinois and letting you kind of know what they like to do schematically wise, how we match up with it, how we think USC should attack them. If you guys were on our live Saturday, or if you watched the game Saturday and you watched our previous breakdown, you would see everything that we discussed prior to the game were things that, we immediately seen in the first drives and things of that nature. And so definitely, and then next Saturday, it's not Big Ten after dark like it was this weekend. It's going to be Big Ten for breakfast, right?
Big Ten for breakfast. Right.
Yeah. The game will be 12 p.m. Eastern. It's going to be on Fox, big noon kickoff. So that would be 11 o'clock Central. That would be 9 o'clock Pacific time. We will be on 30 minutes prior to the game, getting ready. Again, we'll be on live. We'll have the phone number in the chat so you guys can call in, comment, tell us what you see as we'll be breaking down the game schematically as it happens, play by play, giving other updates as well, and talking through the game. And so we definitely appreciate you guys. Please like, share, subscribe. Join this Saturday. Call in and put your input in. We appreciate everybody that came out this Saturday, especially for Big Ten After Dark, because it was a late one. It was a late one. Right. And shared your comments, watched the game with us. Big shout out to Tina Greer, who was actually at the game and was giving us a lot of insight and things of that nature. So shout out to you, Tina Greer. We appreciate you. With that being said, I'm going to pass it to you, B, and then we'll go ahead and get out of here.
Again, join us this coming Saturday. Like Chris said, we'll be logging on, going live around 10:30 Central Standard Time. Continue to like, share, and subscribe, and hit that bell for notifications so you'll get the notifications every time we go live, every time we post something, every time we got something coming up. Again, we appreciate everybody that stopped by our last live, and we're looking forward to continuing on this throughout the season. Hopefully we can get some more subscribers. So again, we appreciate it and we thank you. And if that's nothing else, we're going to go ahead and sign out of here. Looking forward to seeing you guys on Saturday.
And we're out of here. Congratulations to the USC Trojans, the number 21 ranked in the country, started unranked and moving up. USC Trojans, who defeated the Michigan State Spartans 45-31. And now we are on to Illinois. Appreciate you, everybody. And as always, fight on.
Fight on.